All right, so you're out in the field, you're doing your photography, you're out in the cold, and all of a sudden it starts to sleet, it starts to rain. You don't have a water resistant camera. You're concerned about whether it's going to hurt your camera. What do? Well, the most effective thing that you can do is a rain cover. And there are several on the market that you can purchase that will help protect your gear. The one that I use the most is the rain sleeve. It's by Optech USA. The small is $6. The 18-inch one is $10, and they come in different sizes. They have a small, they have a medium, they have all different sizes. This one I use with my big lens, which is my Sigma 50-500 on my Canon 7D, and it works really well. I'm going to be using that here shortly for snowy owls when they finally come to Ohio, and I can't wait. I finally have something to use that with. But this is the one I use with my photography camera. I do use the 18 with this lens because of my lens hood. It gets kind of long, so it won't fit with this one. So I do use the 18 with this lens. It's basically just a plastic sleeve with a drawstring on one end, a hole for your eyepiece, and then a place for you to put your hands in and for your tripod to sit. And all you do is you just slide this over the front. Now I keep my lens hood on. It depends on if you have a lens hood or if you use one, because I like to cinch it right up against the back of the lens hood. I think it works well doing it that way. And then it creates this partial seal. It's not perfect, but it's something. And then you take your rubber eye cup off. You place the hole in the bag around your eyepiece, and then you slide your rubber cup back on, and that creates the seal around that. And then you've got, I won't do it with mine only because mine is a pain in the butt to get off. Because of the water resistance factor, it's very tight form to get on there. And then you can still control and see your LCD screen through the back of here. I've done it before. You can look through your viewfinder. Both hands can go up top so that you can hold on to it if you're hand holding. Or if you're tripod mounted, you can still get in here and work all of your camera and everything. And it works really, really well. I've been using these for a few years now, and I really like them. They work well. They come 2 in a bag. So when you're done using it and you've ripped it, I've gotten them covered in mud before. When you're done using it, you just lay it out, you let it dry. I usually drape it over the back of a chair. And when you're done, you just fold it up, stick it back in your camera bag, and you're ready to go. Unless you rip it or you tear anything, you don't have to worry about replacing it. And it folds up very small and goes right inside your camera bag. The other thing that you can do, and I've used this extensively, is a clear shower cap. I use this at waterfalls with spray, at the beach when there's large waves, and I've used it to keep the spray off the front of my lens and off my filters. And all I do is I just drape it over. Now with my camera, the shower cap covers the entire thing. It covers the whole camera. But with my camera being water resistant, I don't need to worry about water because I've had this thing drenched and it's perfect. I just put it over the front of my lens or the front of my filter holder, and it keeps the spray off. Then when I'm ready to shoot, I take it off, I do my shoot, and then I put it back on. But if you don't have a rain cover with you and you have these work just as well to keep all the elements off of your camera, so that way it doesn't harm your equipment. I got these at Sally Beauty Supply in a bag of 10 for $3. So again, I like doing things on a budget. I'm not the kind of person that will go out and spend a whole bunch of money on something anymore. I used to. I don't anymore. It's not really going to benefit you except for the name. Now the other thing that you can do if you don't want to go with this one, you don't think it's going to be protective enough, you don't have a cover, is you can actually buy one of these. And these are an actual rain cover. This is from Altura. And I got this on Amazon for $15. And I used this with my Canon 6D and my 7D and my bigger lenses. It will not work with this one. It's way too big. But It works great. It's a ripstop material with a waterproof lining on the inside. It has a clear window so you can see your LCD screen. You have to put your eye up to this to look through your viewfinder. Your hands go in the side. Your lens comes out here, and there's a zipper on the bottom for you to put your camera in, and you can also put your tripod on your tripod and then zip it up on the sides. And it works really well. I wish it worked for this camera, but it's way too big. This folds down nice and small to slide down into the front of your camera bag, but it's not as small as the shower cap or as the Optec. I mean, there's a difference in size here. So it's up to you whether you want to use it or not. Now, there's another option on the market that you can use, which is going to set you back about $200, and that is the Think Tank Hydrophobia. I used to own that many years ago when it first came out. I got it on a good deal. I didn't pay $150 for it, but I used it one time. It was big, bulky. It came in its own bag. It was hard to fit in my bag. And when you buy it, they don't tell you that you have to buy a special eyepiece to go with it. You cannot use your viewfinder's eye cup with that of the hydrophobia. You have to take this off and buy a special one specifically for your camera to slide on. So when I purchased it, I didn't know that, and I went to use it and I couldn't use it effectively. So I had to be careful how I used it with my Canon because it wasn't water resistant. I had to come home and buy a special eyepiece, and that cost me between $40 and $50. And I couldn't use the same one with my 6D as my 7D. I know that the 6D and the 6D Mark II, you can't use the same one with those two. So you're going to spend about $200 for a rain cover. And I'm sorry, if I can spend $6 or $15, I'm good with that. But that's another option you could do. The other option you could do is just a simple Ziploc bag. And I know people who have used these. I know people who have successfully gotten them to work. I never have. I've never used one. I've never tried to use one. Actually, I take that back. I did try to use one time many, many years ago on my old film camera, and I hated it. Swore I'd never use one again. And I haven't. Either I just didn't, I avoided going out in the rain, or I didn't use one. But if you can figure out how to get it to work, and it works well for you, then they do work. I don't like them, but that's just me. That's personal preference. That's just me. So you can also use that. Now there are other options that you can use on the market as well. It's just going and finding the right one for you and your camera. So those are ways that you can protect your camera from the rain, the sleet, the snow, things like that. If you're out and you get snow on the front of your lens, get a blower, one of those rocket blowers or any type of blower. It doesn't have to be a rocket blower. And when the snow gets on there, just blow it off. If your camera's not warm, it won't melt to the front, but if you wipe it off, it will melt. And if it melts, you take the chance of that freezing to the front element of your lens, and then your lens can get ruined because that ice will remove the coating on your lens. You have to be careful with that. Whatever you do, do not lay a cloth across the top of your camera thinking that's going to help, because if your cloth absorbs that moisture and it freezes, it will freeze to your camera. And then you have a whole nother issue. So just kind of, you know, figure out what works best for you, how you're going to be able to pack it, and you'll be able to find something. So now I want to talk to you about moving your camera from inside your house to your car. And how do you get your camera to not fog when you move it from your warm temperature inside your house to the cool temperature outside in your car? Well, there's something that I've done for many, many years that has worked really well for me and for others that I know, that basically what you want to do is you want to get your temperature of your camera to a cool temperature before you open up your bag outside and you introduce it to the cold. The reason you do that is it keeps it from fogging inside and outside, because you can get fogging inside your lens as well and on your sensor, and you don't want that to happen. So what you do, and what I do, is before I go to bed at night, I will take my camera bag. My battery was dying. I will take my camera bag and I will take it and I'll set it out in my car. And I'll take out my batteries out of my camera and all my batteries that are in my bag, and I will leave them in the house next to my keys or my wallet or whatever for the next morning so I don't forget them. And I will take my camera bag out and set it in my car, and then overnight, and then that way my camera bag will cool down slowly. Now, my camera bag is in a car that's locked, in a garage that's locked, and it's secure. Do not place your camera bag in your vehicle if it's not secure in a location that no one can break in and get to it. If you have a breezeway in between your house and your garage that is not heated, you can also set it inside of there. An enclosed front porch that's not heated, you can set there. If you have a foyer where you come in one door, take off your coat and your shoes and go through another door to get inside your house that's not heated, you can set it there. That allows the temperature inside your bag and your gear to cool down enough so that whenever you take it out, it's not going to fog on you. That has worked really, really well for me, and I've never had an issue with fogging or anything like that if I did that. Now you're saying, well, what about while you're in your car and you're going to your destination? It's still in the back of my car, and that cool air is trapped inside my bag. It takes a minimum of 2 hours for the inside of the bag to warm up enough to where I have to worry about that. And I don't go anywhere that's 2 hours away. I do, but I don't think it would be, I've never had an issue with having anything like that happen. So just trial and error, try it and see if you like it. Now you're out, you did your photos and you're ready to come home. How do you bring your camera from the cool temperatures outside back into your house and not have condensation build up inside of your lens and inside your camera and end up ruining your camera system? There's another thing I've done for many, many years. A friend of mine introduced it to me probably about 20 years ago, and I've never gone back. I've done it ever since. And before I even leave my location where I'm at and drive home, I will go through my camera bag and I will take out every single thing I think I'm going to have to take out when I get home. Any clothing, any food wrappers, any trash, water bottles, bladder, anything. I will take the memory cards out of my camera. I will take the batteries out of my camera. I will take any batteries I've already used or memory cards I've already used out of my bag and place them into another bag. And I will take all of my equipment and place it right back in my camera bag. Come home, get my camera bag out of my car, bring it in and set it down and forget it for 24 hours. I don't touch the bag, I don't open it, I don't do anything to it. That's why I've gone through it in the field and taken everything out of it that I think I'm going to have to take out. And then that way when I get home, I just set it down and I forget it. And my bag is warming slowly. That is the key to preventing any type of condensation from building in your lens and in your camera, is allowing your gear to warm slowly. Like I said before, it takes a minimum of 2 hours for the air inside your camera bag to even warm. So you're going to have to take that into consideration whenever you bring your gear home. Do not bring your gear home, put it on the table, open it up, take everything out of it. You're introducing warm air to cold air, and that's going to cause condensation to build. When I worked in the retail market at the local camera shop, I had a gentleman bring in a lens. He and his wife flew to Alaska. They did all their stuff. He goes back to the hotel, opens his bag, couldn't wait to see his pictures, gets up the next morning, and there is a puddle of water in his lens, his big lens, his 70 to 200. And he brings it to me after a week. He didn't use it the entire time he was up there. He couldn't because of the water. And as I'm moving it, I can see the water sloshing and hear it sloshing inside the lens. That's how bad it can get. He basically had to buy a new lens. He didn't realize that when you brought it in from the cold, he knew about the fogging, but he didn't realize that when he brought it in from the cold to the hot, that you also had to let your camera warm up. So that is the key to that. Now, a lot of people will also use a Ziploc bag, and they will, before they come home, while you're in the field, do not do this when you get home, do it in the field. Because if you do the same thing, you're coming home, you're opening your bag, you're doing the same exact thing. Do this while you're in the car. What they'll do is they'll take a Ziploc bag, and they will take their camera and their lens, take out your memory cards, take out your batteries, and they'll place them right inside the Ziploc bag, and they'll close it. Do not squeeze the air out of here. You want the air in there because the coolness coming off of your camera and the air is going to cool, and then that air is going to warm, and that's what warms your camera. Minimum of 2 hours. You can also place a drying agent inside of here. Those little silicone packs that you get with, your like your shoes and your purses and your bags and things that you buy, save those, because you can toss one in here and any moisture that forms on your camera or inside the bag, it will take that. Now I use what's called a moisture muncher drying agent. It's clay based. It has crystals inside of it. They're blue when they're ready to go. They're pink when they're used. And all you do is you throw one of these or two of these in your bag or inside of here, and it helps get the moisture out of your camera bag. You can reuse these. You put them in a cookie sheet in an oven for about 150 degrees for 2 hours, and you can reuse them up to 2 times. And I love these things. I bought this at a local dive shop. You get 3 in a bag for $10, and they work really, really well. I've used them for a while now, and I always have one in my bag. Whether it's spring, summer, winter, fall, I always have one in there because I'm around water a lot, and it helps to remove anything. I'm in the rain, anything that's left over, it takes care of it. So you've got this in here, and you're allowing this to warm up slowly, but what about these guys? They've been in your bag, they've been in the cold, they're just as susceptible to condensation and buildup and everything, even your audio equipment, your vlogging equipment, everything. They also need to be in a Ziploc bag. So that's a lot of Ziploc bags. And you have to carry that in from the garage and all, it's just a pain. So that's why I leave everything in my bag. I take everything out that I think I'm gonna have to get to, and I just let it warm up for 24 hours. And then the next day I take care of everything. It's easier, far less bags. You don't have to worry about anything. You can toss one of these in there to help with any moisture that comes off of your equipment, and it works. In the 20-something years I've been doing it, I've not had an issue, and I'm hoping that I don't, but it works really well for me. So that's how you can protect those. Now, I want to caution you on something that a lot of people do out in the field, and I've seen people do this, and it really is not good. So you're out and you notice your battery's starting to drop, your camera's getting cold, and you just want to make sure you have more battery life. So you just take your camera and you pop it in your jacket and you zip it up, and you think, okay, well, let me give it a few minutes and everything will get warm, everything will get nice and toasty, my battery will come back up again. No, that's not what's happening. What's happening is you are taking every bit of humidity that's coming off of your body, and unless you have a water resistant camera and a water sealed, weather sealed camera, you're putting every bit of that humidity right inside your camera and your lens. Every bit of it is going in every crack, crevice, every part in your camera. And you are introducing humidity into a system that's not supposed to have humidity and can ruin your equipment. Don't do that. I've seen people do that. I worked in the camera, when I worked at the camera store, I had a lady who brought in her camera, and it was humidity was inside of her lens and inside her LCD. And there was no getting that out of there. And you don't put your camera gear in rice. I don't care what anyone tells you. Rice has dust. If your camera's not dust resistant, do not put your camera in there. You will get dust inside of your camera equipment and you're screwed. I saw a guy actually take his lens off, never put a body cap on, and put his camera down inside a bag of rice. No. I just wanted to choke him. Don't do that. It's not going to do enough to keep that moisture out of your camera once it's already in there. So please, whatever you do, do not put your camera in your coat. You're taking all that humidity that's coming off of your body underneath your clothes and putting it right into your camera. So I caution people on that all the time. And I don't want to see anybody's camera get hurt. So that's how you bring your camera in from the cold to inside, is just allowing it to heat up slowly and allowing it to slowly get rid of all of that stuff that's on there. Now, I want to let you guys know, if you have any tips, any tricks, any hints, anything that you've done in the past or that you are doing that I haven't mentioned, please list those below in the comments. Let us know, because it's all about learning from each other, and it's all about sharing tips and tricks and hints to keep everybody safe. And if you have any of those, please put them in the comments. If you've not subscribed to my channel, please click the subscribe button, click the bell icon for any upcoming videos that I have, and there's going to be some. And click the like button. If you don't like this video, that's fine. Click the down arrow, doesn't matter to me. If you like the video, please give me a like, and I will list in the description below all the information that I just gave you from the companies about the SD cards. I will link all of the links for the stuff that I've talked about that you can purchase down below as well, so that you can go check those things out for yourself. If you guys have any questions, please let me know, and I will see you guys in part 2. I'll talk to you later. Bye.